Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of the Cambridge Insider Podcast. Great to have each and every one of you with us. As always, joined by my good friend in Seattle, Mr. Batson. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great today, Stephen. It's nice to be here with you on our wonderful podcast.
That's awesome. I like the enthusiasm. Muggy day in New Jersey, a lot of rain around, but I did plant a little bit of grass this weekend, so the rain is hopefully feeding the seeds, and hopefully we'll see some action come this
Is
spring.
is this your first time as a homeowner planting grass?
It's my first time as a homeowner. I have planted grass before, unsuccessfully, I must say.
I was about to say you're about to spend the rest of your life planting that grass.
But buy a house, they said. It's a great idea.
You'll spend the rest of your life planting grass.
Exactly. We actually have quite a bit to get through this week, so let's dive right into it. Um, First on my list, Craig, I saw something about uh, changes in visa lengths, some proposed change in visa lengths. Can you share a little bit more detail there?
Yeah, so this is a proposed visa change that the Trump administration has been working on for a number of months, a number of years. I think I first heard about it a year and a half ago. And it has made it to the proposed rule section. And they have now published it as a proposed rule in the Federal Register. This rule would change the visa length of all F-1 students and all students studying abroad in America from length of program, which can be extended from high school to college to graduate school, and it makes it easy to transfer institutions. And they would be proposing to change it to a standard 4-year length for all students. This obviously would have a number of effects, but basically it would make it so all of our international students had to continually apply for visas, pay visa fees, be dealing with the consulates. It would just make it a much bigger regulatory burden to come study here.
All right. So, I mean, listening to what you said there, and I'm somebody that's being an immigrant myself. I've got experience with the visa and applying for visas. It's never an easy, nice, fun process. We all know that it takes time, it takes money. It's certainly not something we want to be doing more often than we have to. Should we be panicking? Should families that have read this in the news, is this panic stations? Where are we in the process?
No, so it's still not about panic time. And really, I would say it's never panic time. But what this is now that it's a proposed rule, and even if this became a real rule, humans adapt, our teams adapt, our students are very resilient. That's the word of the year. And we are all being strong and saying, okay, this would be fine. We could get through this, which we could. But what we can do is there are actions that we can take to make it so this does not go into effect. And the biggest one is it is now open for a 30-day public comment. And that would be, I believe it's from about now until Halloween. And you go on, the website is regulations.gov, and there you can find this proposed rule change and make your comment there. This is not only a way to get your voice heard, but it also delays the process. They need to go through and react to all the comments. They need to go through and take them all into consideration and show that they're all in consideration. This is similar to a different rule change that Obama proposed back during his administration, and that received over 50,000 comments. That then took them months and months to go through. in order to process all the comments. They had to apply for extensions to let to take into consideration and respond to all the comments. So this is an action that we can take. This rule is unpopular. Not very many people are asking for it. So hopefully, if the administration changes, if we can delay this implementation until January, we will have no problem not having this turned into a real rule. So action.
Awesome. So, in summary, get out there, engage. We'll be putting that link in the show notes for you. So if you do want to be able to make a comment there, please, make sure that you get heard, make sure that your voice gets heard. These are important things, if not life-threatening, life or death, they are important. And we certainly want to make our voice heard. Craig, a lot of good information there. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with the readers. Then I did see some new data as well that, and I do want you to note my American phrase, data, not as I would say as a South African data, just for the listeners trying to be really, really easy on the ear. But some new data that got released regarding international enrollments specifically related to universities.
Yeah, so this was the first, what are we saying, data that we have from any national organizations. And so this is from the National Student Clearinghouse, and they are looking at all the international enrollment in higher education. And so this is at undergraduate universities. International enrollments fell 11%. That is the largest out of any of the demographics that they studied. Domestic Asians went down 3.5%. Black enrollments were down 6.3%. So international enrollment is by far the biggest drop. This is just the beginning of this data. Cambridge Network doesn't have our data yet. I'm sure other specifically secondary organizations will get more, but this is something that I would expect to see across the board, about 11% now. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something important to be aware of. I certainly don't want any schools that are listening to freak out too much about this. We knew from the beginning that, from the offset and from the beginning of COVID, that this would be a challenging year for recruitment, that this would be a challenging year for enrollment in general. So that is something that we've sort of expected. And it really doesn't, in my mind at least, change the game plan for institutions that are looking for enrollments. You have to continuously, and this is something that's come back for a few years now as the industry has changed, but you continuously have to be on top of your game. You have to diversify where you get students from. You have to focus as an institution, as a school, on the things that you can do. If you have a current student there, make sure that student experience is excellent, because as we at Cambridge love to say, that student success story is the best marketing tool that you could possibly have. More important than any good pictures, videos, that success story from that student is so very important, and something that you as a school or an institution have direct influence on. So really focus on the things within your control. Craig, any final thoughts on the data, as well as just what schools should be looking to do moving forward?
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. Is this is a competitive market, and we're all working in the same one, and we need to know what is happening to understand how aggressive we need to be. And here on the podcast, we don't deep dive into this stuff deeply yet, but Cambridge Network hosts our Wednesday webinar program that everyone is invited to, and that's where we really dive deep into how we can improve our programs. So I always encourage everybody checking out that. You can find the links on our website. You can find the links in the Cambridge Insider, or talk to your program manager if you have one. And that's how we will help coach you into making sure that you can get as many international students as you want.
Awesome. Awesome. And then to end of today's episode, a little bit of news from abroad, something that you and I discussed a little earlier, which we thought was important, maybe just to shed a little bit of light, shed a little bit of perspective on what's happening. Do you want to share a little bit of the story that we spoke about and sort of the implications of what we were thinking out loud regarding that?
Yeah. So, as part of this podcast, one of the things that I really like to focus on is letting everybody know what's happening in the world. And this was a story that came across my news feed, and that we were talking about of students in China protesting campus lockdowns. And this was out from China has done very well in containing COVID-19. And part of that is they get to have all these in-person classes. Students are back in school, universities are in session, students are in dorms. But as part of the protections, they are also having other struggles. And this is kind of the situation where not every win is a pure win. There's struggles everywhere you go, whether it's dealing with COVID or dealing with not COVID. And so we have students at a university in China that are protesting the lockdowns on their campus. And Chaohu University in eastern China, kind of near-ish to Beijing, they had canceled their Mid-Autumn Festival holiday. So this was a 6-day holiday that everybody in the country is going to take. You go visit your families. Holidays are pretty hard to come by in China, so it's a big deal. But because the university wasn't okay with everybody leaving and then coming back and potentially bringing COVID in, they canceled the holiday. The students only get 1 day off. And then they are then going to be in classes. They are going to be in their dormitories, not leaving. So it is really, there is a struggle anywhere in the world that you are, even where you hear the success stories.
Absolutely. The term that comes to mind is growing pains. I mean, this is the first time as an industry, as a world, that we're going through this, trying to find out what works and what doesn't work. And I think just being patient with wherever you go, whether you go to a restaurant and eating for the first time, whether you're trying to do online learning with the school, whether there's a dormitory issue, is being patient and understanding that this is the first time. We're trying to find best practices. We're trying our best. I'm sure everybody out there is, putting their best foot forward and seeing if that can make a difference in people's lives. So really just being patient. The word Craig used earlier on resilience, so important. Students, parents, be patient, be resilient. We're trying our best. Schools are trying their best. Important to remember that moving forward. Very cool. Craig, any final thoughts? Anything else you want to discuss, or is that us for today?
Yeah, just a reminder, regulations.gov, find the link in the show notes, get your comments in, let them know, make them as serious as possible. This is an action that we can take to make our industry better, and really working on that.
Absolutely, get out there and engage. And to all of our listeners in China in particular, with the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday that is on the horizon, enjoy. If you do happen to have some time off, enjoy that time with family and with friends. And as always, everybody, thank you so much for listening, and we hope to hear and see you around next week.